Hey, what's going on, guys? Jonathan, and if you've been on the fence about buying an iPhone 10 versus a Galaxy S9 Plus, this might be the video you've been waiting for. To kick things off, let's take a look at the iPhone 10. The iPhone 10 is Apple's latest iPhone and features a complete redesign versus anything we have ever seen from Apple. It's made of mineral glass on the front and back with a solid slab of stainless steel wrapping around the sides. The glass surfaces scratch incredibly easy, which definitely impacts the durability. For that reason, I suggest picking up a skin from colorware like the retro style iPhone variant that you see here. The two things that really stand out when you look at the iPhone 10 compared to its previous iterations is the lack of a home button and the beaver tooth notch at the top. For more information on what makes that notch tick, make sure to check out my full review, which can be found in the card at the top of this video. The in-the-hand feel of the iPhone 10 is awesome and one of my favorites if I'm being honest. The nice slim form factor and rather compact nature make one-handed usability pretty easy. The elongated power button at first was weird, but now just feels right since it's hard to miss it. The rounded design and slightly beveled edges actually improve the ergonomics, so the in-the-hand feel is fantastic. In comparison, the Galaxy S9 Plus also features front and back sides made of glass. To be specific, it's Gorilla Glass 5, which scratches incredibly easy. So just like I stated before, make sure you pick up a case or a colorware skin to protect your glass. The S9 Plus does beat out the iPhone in one area of protection, and that's with water. Both phones have water resistance, but the S9 Plus has an IP68 rating versus the IP67 rating on the iPhone 10. To be honest, you're probably not going to notice a difference. The S9 Plus features curved edges on the front and back side, which help with ergonomics for sure, but actually make one-handed usability a bit more difficult, at least for me. This was due to the accidental presses and swipes that would occur by applying too much pressure to the front edges. The Galaxy S9 Plus is slightly thicker, which can definitely be felt after handling both phones for a bit, and since the Bixby button cannot be remapped, it's pretty annoying. Plus, due to its location, I accidentally triggered it multiple times until I disabled it. While the iPhone 10 might actually be more ergonomic and friendly to the hand, the Galaxy S9 Plus makes up for it with its headphone jack and SD card slot. Not to mention, the Galaxy S9 Plus features a larger display at 6.2 inches compared to the 5.8 inches found on the iPhone 10. Plus, it doesn't feature a notch, and on top of that, has a higher screen-to-body ratio. Simply going by practicality and a cosmetic standpoint, the Galaxy S9 Plus is a tough phone to beat. However, depending on the size of your hand and how you're able to manipulate a phone, the iPhone 10 might be the more ergonomic choice for you. But that's enough of design. Let's dive into media consumption and see how these two phones compare. The iPhone 10 features a 5.8-inch OLED display with amazing color accuracy, excellent viewing angles, and plenty of brightness. Plus, you get HDR support. Honestly, it's an absolute gorgeous smartphone display. In comparison, the Galaxy S9 Plus features a 6.2-inch Super AMOLED display, which can be tweaked to showcase the same accurate colors as the iPhone, or give that rich, oversaturated look we expect from OLED displays. The curved edges allow for a slightly more immersive look if you're into that sort of thing. The S9 Plus also gets brighter than the iPhone 10, and based on display tests found online, the iPhone 10 had the best display on the market until the S9 was released. Honestly, it's kind of funny in a way since both displays are made by Samsung. To go along with these gorgeous displays, both phones feature stereo speakers in the same type of fashion. You have a single bottom firing speaker and an earpiece that doubles as a speaker. They both get equally loud, however the iPhone 10 has a fuller, almost richer sound with more punch. This can be heard in nearly all types of music and videos.
Shield servants in the head or in the hand. Buy yourself while you can. Buy yourself, all the more bands wax old like the garment. My advice to the 100, take what you can, only for a season to be.
The iPhone 10 is being powered by the A11 Bionic chip, which is a 6-core chipset coupled with 3 GB of RAM. The Galaxy S9 Plus is packing the Snapdragon 845, which is an 8-core chipset with 6 GB of RAM. Performance-wise, they both fly, and despite the benchmarks, you would be hard-pressed to actually tell which one of these is faster based on hardware alone. This means whether you are gaming or multitasking, both phones will not disappoint. The real magic comes down to software and the fact that Apple has Actually, no. The iPhone 10 is slower at times, buggier, and even unresponsive. The iPhone 10 is running iOS 11, and since this is Apple's first take on an all-gesture-based software experience on the iPhone 10, it is loaded with bugs and hangups. The Galaxy S9 Plus is running Android 8.0 with the latest version of the Samsung Experience Launcher on top of it. Android has reached a point where it's not only more reliable, I feel, but given the right specifications and optimizations, faster. The Samsung Experience Launcher has really toned down on some of the excess bloat while still being rich and buttery smooth. Meanwhile, iOS is still that lockdown ecosystem we all love or hate, but on the iPhone 10, it's worse than ever at times. Each of these phones have their own software exclusives that are very similar but yet different in almost every way. An example of this is Apple Pay, which is used widely but not nearly as wide as Samsung Pay, which also utilizes MST technology for older card readers. On the iPhone X, you have Animoji, which no doubt works better than ARmoji on the S9 Plus. However, in time, if Samsung can iron out the bugs of ARmoji, it actually might be more useful than just to playfully send a message. Also, the voice assistants differ as you have Siri on the iPhone and Bixby plus Google Assistant on the S9. Google Assistant is a bit more advanced than Siri and Bixby, but when you combine it with Bixby, which is excellent at performing phone-based operations, you have a killer combo that shuts down Siri quickly. Speaking of similarities and differences, each of these phones share an almost identical way of unlocking and getting into your phone, but with a slight twist. Apple removed the fingerprint scanner on the iPhone X and replaced it with Face ID, which is advanced 3D mapping of your face. It works really well actually, and is better than Samsung's implementation of facial scanning, which works in conjunction with iris scanning. That being said, when both phones function perfectly, the unlocking speed is very similar. Perhaps this is due to the fact that the S9 unlocks your phone without swiping, while the iPhone still requires you to swipe up. Nonetheless, the S9 takes the cake here because it also features a fingerprint scanner on the backside. This of course is a bit faster and more reliable than facial scanning on either phone. Jumping over to battery life. Battery life on both of these phones is incredibly similar and should last you a full day. At times, I found myself having to top off towards midday just to be able to last through a full day, but it was very rare. And speaking of topping off, charging capabilities of these are very similar. You have quick charging on both and you have fast wireless charging on both. Of course, the Galaxy S9 Plus is going to take a little bit longer to charge because of that larger battery capacity, but overall, it's pretty equal. That's enough about batteries. Let's go ahead and jump over to the cameras. Both phones feature dual camera lenses in the same wide angle and telephoto fashion. In fact, both phones feature some type of portrait mode on the front and back side as well. However, the iPhone X does a more reliable job at producing portrait photos with more realistic colors. Both shoot 4K UHD up to 60 frames per second and also 1080p up to 240 frames per second. The iPhone can shoot UHD at cinema standard 24 frames per second, whereas the Galaxy S9 Plus can only do 30 and 60p. The S9 Plus quickly makes up for this by shooting 960 frames per second and 720p in extremely short bursts, which if done right in the right scenario, looks really cool. You also get pro mode options for both photo and video on the S9, which is nice. Plus, the S9 Plus has one of the biggest new features on any smartphone, the variable aperture. The Galaxy S9 Plus allows you to switch from f2.4 and f1.5 on the wide angle lens to allow more light to pass through for better low light images, and it works really well. While both phones have their strengths and weaknesses, I would say the iPhone X has a more consistent camera, while the S9 Plus can produce better images if and when it hits, especially in low light. So now let's talk about the prices. The iPhone X starts at $999 for a 64GB model, and stretching all the way to $1,149 for a 256GB model. The Galaxy S9 Plus is still costly, coming in at $849.99 for a 64GB model. However, this is expandable with SD card support up to 512 gigs. Plus, it's cheaper than the iPhone X. I mean, just being real here, the Galaxy S9 Plus is definitely the better bang for your buck. You're getting a ton of features, you're getting a great, gorgeous looking phone, and you're getting the latest and greatest cutting edge tech all packed into a package that is cheaper than the iPhone X. That being said, some people have a lot invested into iOS, whether it's apps or you use iMessage, FaceTime, or even Handoff quite frequently. And for that, I would say iOS is invaluable and the iPhone X definitely takes the win here. But for the average person, or if you don't mind jumping ship to different operating systems, then I would definitely suggest checking out the Galaxy S9 Plus, as it is theoretically a better device. Well guys, that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed it, smash that thumbs up button. If you're new here, stick around by subscribing. If you're not new here, or if you're new here, make sure you hit that bell icon to be alerted whenever I drop new content. If you have any questions, leave them down below in a comment, or hit me up on social, as I do respond faster there. And of course, I'll talk to you in the next one.